My female 30, sister 35, passed away 2 months ago. She has 2 little kids, and I help take care of them by either visiting brother-in-law's house or having them come over to mine. Days ago, brother-in-law left the kids with me for the day and then called in the evening, asking if I could have them stay with me for the night. I, of course, agreed. The kids and I fell asleep while reading a story, and then at 1 a.m., I woke up to some noise. I opened my eyes and saw my brother-in-law slowly climbing into bed. I freaked out, asking what he was doing. He tried to calm me down and said that he saw the kids were with me and he wanted to join us. This did not sit right with me. I was confused. I asked how he thought this was appropriate, and he again said that his kids were there, so he didn't think I'd mind him being with them. I felt extremely uncomfortable. I got up and asked him to please leave the room, but he objected, saying, I can't keep him away from his kids. I told him that I'd have the kids join him in a minute. He eventually walked out. He got the kids dressed and took them home after calling what I did unnecessarily cruel and rude. The next day I tried to call to check on the kids, but he was still upset, saying that they were asleep after I interrupted their sleep by refusing to let him join us in bed. I hung up and felt so many things all at once. I told my mom, and she said that I had to apologize for how I behaved toward my grieving brother-in-law. Am I the idiot for saying no? What? So, if I understand this right, he snuck into your home in the middle of the night and was going to crawl into bed? Excuse me? On what planet is that acceptable behavior? Not the idiot. You weren't keeping him from his children. You were keeping him from creeping into your bed while you slept. I can understand that everyone's going through a tough time right now, so maybe he doesn't understand what he did, but that doesn't make you the idiot for kicking him out of your bed. That man is trying to slide right into bed as if you're his dead wife, your sister, and he doesn't see a problem with that. That's not a mistake. That was a tactile move to see how far he could push your boundaries and how much you'll allow during a vulnerable time, half asleep. One does not simply climb into bed with your wife's sister because she's withholding me from my kids if she doesn't say yes. Firm boundaries need to be put into place now. This situation needs to be discussed. You were right to have all your alarm bells go off. I would change the locks. Why did he even have a key? I also wonder if OP looks like her sister. That he asked her if the kids could stay overnight and then crawl into bed with her, she couldn't keep him away from his children. This was planned. He's running a calculated operation now to defend his bruised ego. Even if he wasn't clear-headed when he tried to get into that bed, she must be careful. Agree. It sounds like he's trying to use you as a replacement wife. It's common in these situations, especially because you take on many mother roles. Good for you for drawing that hard line and sticking to it. He needs to apologize to you, not the other way around. And what's wrong with your mom thinking otherwise? Does your mother understand the context? That he came into your house at 1 a.m. and tried to get into your bed? That's not okay. I know what's wrong with mom. Wouldn't it be convenient if the daughter just replaced the dead daughter? Ugh, grieving dad wouldn't remarry out of the family, and grandma would keep the same access to the grandbabies. OP, disregard anyone who says you need to apologize or says that you reacted harshly. There's nothing normal about what he did. Kids or no kids in between. He completely crossed the line and then guilt-tripped you. My wife and I currently live with my mom. It is super embarrassing, and believe me, we're trying to get out, but we have no option for the moment. My mom and my wife have never gotten along, and my mom is a crappy mother-in-law, so I'm on my wife's side 100% and shut it down when my mom starts. Sunday was my wife's birthday, and my wife is huge on birthdays. We had a whole day planned, and I had some extra surprises. I know from previous years that she has sky-high expectations for birthdays and gets disappointed if there's any setback. We were getting ready to go out, and my mom fell down the stairs. It was totally her fault. She was running in heels. Obviously, we both went to her, but she was adamant that she didn't need help. I told her she needed to go to the emergency room as she couldn't move her wrist and was quite literally withering in pain. I felt I had to offer to drive her as she can't drive with one arm, and I've heard you can't Uber if you're clearly injured for liability reasons. I saw my wife's face fall, but it just felt like what I was supposed to do. My mom declined and I asked her how she would get there. She said she didn't know, but she didn't want to ride for me. So we went out for the day, but my wife told me I was insensitive for the asking. When we returned home to change for our big evening out, my mom was back from the hospital. Her friend drove her. She was looking for something to eat, but hadn't done the week's shopping and was struggling to find something she could get on her own. I offered to make her something. At first she declined, but then gave in. When my wife came down, I said I'd be ready in a few minutes, and she looked incredibly hurt. It was just grilled cheese and it didn't take that long. Also, my mom had been at the ER for hours and hadn't eaten. Before we left, I asked if she needed anything and she said no. The moment we got to the car, my wife accused me of catering to my awful mother on her birthday. I pointed out it was an unforeseen emergency, and she told me my mother being stupid and running downstairs shouldn't be my priority. She said my mom has her partner. He was out of state and did offer to fly home, but wouldn't have made it until early the following day anyway. So he still couldn't have given her a ride or made her dinner. And she said she can't forgive me for making her second fiddle to my mom on her birthday. So, am I the idiot? Unless we believe that your mother faked your injury, this is a no-brainer, and your wife is being blatantly callous and jealous. It's an injury. She needed the literal ER and couldn't feed herself. Let's not be silly. It was a medical emergency. You and your wife both stay with your mother for free, but her needing help getting food after an injury is a ridiculous inconvenience that nearly ruined the whole day. Your wife is an idiot for that. And while I'm really glad you made your mom food, you're an idiot for not stopping that nonsense immediately. Pretty sure the wife is the problem here. God forbid a severely injured woman that's giving you a place to live is a priority. Your mom should kick you both out. That was beyond cruel. Hopefully mom's husband steps up and kicks them out. Just step over your mother's body so we can get my birthday celebration started. Your wife sounds like a psycho. I would like to add how your wife wants a grand birthday when you can't afford to live by yourselves. Yeah, makes you wonder how they got there. It's a mystery for sure, and like there's probably a string of poor financial decisions. Dude, it's not like you can ever say no to your wife about spending money because that's financial abuse. Grow a backbone. I have an older sister, Maya, 28, and a younger sister, Harper, teen. Maya is married, and she and her husband cannot have a baby of their own. They want to adopt a baby and have been waiting for one for almost 2 years now, I think. Harper is currently pregnant with an unplanned baby. Harper was devastated when she found out, but Maya was excited and convinced Harper to give birth to the baby and let Maya adopt it. Maya promised Harper that they would help her through the pregnancy and take good care of the baby, and she could be in the baby's life as an aunt role. This was the plan for about 2 months, and everyone was happy until Maya and her husband met the baby's father. The baby's father was okay with the adoption too. That wasn't the issue. The problem was that Maya and her husband thought he was really ugly. The boy is short, overweight, and has a prominent nose. And that was enough for Maya and her husband to change their minds about the adoption. I was there when Maya told Harper that they wouldn't adopt the baby. Finally, Harper broke down and just kept repeating, "You said you would adopt it and give the baby a good life. What am I going to do now?" Repeatedly. Maya's husband told her that she should have told them how the father looked. They accused Harper of purposefully hiding the baby's father because she must have known they wouldn't want to adopt the baby if they saw him. I told them that they don't deserve a baby, and I hope nobody will ever give them one. I also told Maya that I think she's infertile for a reason. The universe knows what a terrible person she is, and that's why she can't have a baby. Maya started crying, and they left, and now even my father's mad at me. He says Maya has every right to decide which baby she wants to adopt. We can't force Harper's baby on her, and I owe her a huge apology for what I said. Maybe I went too far by saying that Maya's infertile for a reason, but she is a shallow person, and I feel like she deserved it for what she did to Harper. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your brother and sister-in-law are the shallowest people I've ever read about. Imagine not wanting to adopt a baby that you begged for to the detriment of your sister, only to take it back, all because there's a chance the baby will be ugly. There are people in this world who deserve children, and those who don't. I've seen siblings who were definitely more conventionally attractive than the others with the same parents. Genetics is unpredictable, and they're disgusting for doing that. It's not an incurable genetic disease he had. It's just looks. If they want a perfect designer baby, tell them they need to have their own and screw off thinking about other children. I'm infertile and would have loved to adopt a baby at 28. Holy moly. I wouldn't even apologize. I would double down and announce that, as ugly as they both are inside, it shouldn't matter how ugly they think the bio dad is on the outside. I agree with you. Hopefully no one ever gives them a child. I can only imagine how many they would want to trade in just because they don't potty train quickly or they cry too much. Just yikes. Also, your dad should be ashamed. Not because he should force the child on them, but because he sat by while his sister was basically being attacked for not telling them what he looked like. I mean, really? I really feel for the younger sister. The older sister basically took her choice from her. I'm guessing there was a lot of convincing and manipulating the younger sister into agreeing to the adoption arrangement in the first place. She wants a baby, but only if the baby's going to make her look good. As if a human baby is an accessory that she can only love and care for if it looks good. Screw anyone who has this mentality about innocent babies. All babies need love and care regardless of how they look. My sympathy for her infertility died there, and so did yours, and you called her out on it. She should absolutely be ashamed for having that kind of mentality about a baby she claims she so desperately wants. A choosing beggar of the worst kind. My 33 male father is deaf. Because of this, I've been signing for as long as I can remember. On the other hand, my wife, 33, is hearing and has never put much effort into learning ASL beyond a few basic signs. This has never bothered me, but it does make it difficult when we visit my family, since I have to play translator if she and my dad want to have a conversation. But I do it to facilitate a bond between them. About 2 months ago, I learned of an opportunity at the local college in our city where volunteer native speakers could converse with the students in the advanced ASL courses. It would be a monthly thing to track the students' progress. Naturally, I jumped at the chance to help out. I'm very passionate about people learning ASL. One of the other volunteers was a nonverbal man, Alex, 29 male, who I found easy camaraderie. We exchanged numbers and became fast friends. We began hanging out, and during our time at my place, I wouldn't translate, even if my wife was in the room, other than their introductions and small talk, because Alex never requested that I do so. After a few weeks of this, my wife brought it up as something bothering her. She said she felt left out, like Alex and I were keeping secrets. I politely apologized and went on to have a discussion with Alex about this whole thing. He said it was rude that my wife never even made an effort to learn ASL, especially since I had very close family who was deaf. So he had no interest in conversing with her. And honestly, I agreed with him. It didn't rub me the wrong way at first, but now that she's complaining about being left out, despite having years to learn at least some of this new language, feels silly. I let my wife know I would still translate for my dad and her, but things stayed the same with Alex. She's still angry at me. Am I the idiot? Info. Are you planning on building Alex an art studio in your home? Are you having an affair? If Alex doesn't want to talk to his wife because she refuses to learn his language, this isn't an art room situation. It's a respect thing, especially since he has deaf family members and they use it. She's rude, and he doesn't want to interact with her. Not the idiot, OP, purely because she's made no effort to communicate with your father, and she's spent however many years excluding him from everything, unless you're there to translate. I don't think it's rude. Learning ASL is a lot of work. We don't know her schedule. We don't know if they have kids. We don't know if she's working or in school. We don't know if anyone asked her to learn ASL, and we don't know how often they see his dad. I think it's rude to go to someone's house and insult them in a language they don't understand. This guy sounds like he's deliberately isolating the wife in her home, and the OP is letting him. Yes, you are the idiot. If I had a deaf child, I would 100% learn sign language. But for a parent-in-law, I don't think I would. It's not that easy for an adult to learn a language. You don't just take a few lessons. It's a years-long process. Even if she started now, it would be at least 5 years before she could even manage a basic conversation. So you need to keep encouraging her to learn, but keep translating until she does. I, female 18, live with my mom and stepdad and my older sister Lily, 24. Lily's around 6 months pregnant with her first baby and moved back in after her boyfriend dumped her. After a long day at uni lectures, I came home and made myself dinner. After putting it on a plate, I left it in the kitchen while I went to the toilet, and I got distracted because the family dog needed to be let outside to pee. When I returned to the kitchen, Lily had eaten my dinner. I told Lily that was my dinner, and she just stared at me in silence. So I went to go make some cup noodles and told Lily this was annoying. Lily said she was hungry and said that she was eating for two and told me to shut my mouth. I started yelling at Lily and told her that she should be apologizing after eating my dinner, and maybe she should learn how to cook for herself if she's so hungry. Lily started screaming at me like a demon to the point where I didn't understand what she was saying, and grabbed my noodles and threw them out the window, leaving me dinnerless and noodleless. Then Lily stormed out and went to her room. I told my mom and stepdad what had happened, as they were very confused by the commotion. My mom told me I escalated the situation by yelling at her and by my comments, and I should apologize to Lily, and that she's probably just hormonal. I don't think Lily is owed an apology. I think she was just being a jerk. But what do you guys think? Not the idiot. It was your food and she stole it. Pregnant women do not eat for two. 300 more calories per day is the usual thing we hear at the clinic I work for. That's like a protein bar, not your dinner. And if she can't cook, what's the kid gonna eat, trash all the time? I wouldn't even talk to anyone in your house until they come around. Unhinged. No amount of hormones makes you lose your ability to reason. Your sister chose to act on her impulses, whether motivated by hormonal changes or not, which is a deliberate decision. She ate your dinner, didn't apologize for it, then screamed at you, then ruined your second dinner. You don't owe her an apology whatsoever. She owes you 3. Wonder why her boyfriend dumped her. She seems so nice. Being pregnant is not an excuse to eat other people's food, and definitely not an excuse to be an idiot to your sister. Your mom's also an idiot for backing up someone who stole your food and threw a second meal out the window after she was super rude when you told her what she did wasn't cool. Go get yourself some on-campus housing or something.